All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the, I'm calling it the back-end website class. Chris Seidner from Union Street Media. I'm going to be turning over the hosting duties to him so he can share his screen and whatever else he might want to do. Let's see, make host. All right, Chris, so you're the host, so I'm going to kind of let you take it away. I'll try to monitor the chat. I've asked people to type in questions there if they have any, and but we'll just kind of let you give us a tour and let people know what they can do. I did send out instructions yesterday. Hopefully everyone who's in the class at least knows how to get to the back end. If you don't, or you had any trouble, reach out to me after class and I'll make sure that you can get in there. Obviously, if you can get in, you might want to go there now so you can follow along, that way and click on stuff. But if not, you could just follow along and we'll get you caught up later. So all yours, Chris.
Awesome. Well, hi, everyone. It's nice to see you. I'm noticing some great backgrounds suggesting warmer weather. So I'm joining you all from Burlington, Vermont, where Union Street Media is based. I've been with the company now about 5 years and work with clients like yourselves on the website as well as various marketing initiatives. So my hope for today was to cover some of the back-end training, certainly answer any questions that you all have. There's quite a bit of information on the back end, and I thought I would share with you that there are various permission levels, if you will. Agents are given a certain permission level or access. Managers such as myself, have a certain access, and then our web developers and our engineers, of course, have access to the system a little bit differently than I do. But I thought it would be helpful to cover some of the agent sections today. So, I'd be able to give you a sense of how you all can update your own information, view your information, make adjustments. And Bill, I can ask you, there is opportunity for folks to be able to go in and enhance their own listings. So that's certainly an option. In addition, I thought I could also open it up to anyone if there are any specific questions about the platform they may have.
Yeah, the listing enhancements would be great. I think we have that permission correctly authorized on everybody's page. So
great. That was the one question I had. I mean, I was thinking for the call today, we could Bill, you have manager permission, so it's slightly different. But I thought maybe I would use you as the example, if that works.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. Because I have the ability to log in as various people. So let me make that quick adjustment since we're in agreement. And I will start working on sharing my screen. Just closing out a few tabs so they're not distracting, and launch the site. All right. So I'm sharing the screen now, and Bill, I'm logged in as you. So I thought the one piece that might be helpful to start would be the agent manager. When you have agent permissions, you are able to have certain access. You'd have access to your leads, so you'd be able to view your own lead data. And then you also have the opportunity to update some information on your own. So if we go ahead, you can see there are various sections. So clients, if you were to log in, you would be, this is the section you would go to see your leads. If you have listings, you'd be able to go there. Some of the searches and pages might be specific to manager settings. But everyone would be able to view agent manager. And actually, just to share, just see if I can.
Hey, Chris, a quick question. Would there be any benefit to using one of the agents in attendance? Like,
Yeah, definitely. I just thought that's a great point, Bill.
Okay.
Do I have any volunteers?
I bet Dan McClellan would be happy to
Perfect.
let you use his page. But I just didn't. I wanted to make sure that, because I thought mine might look different, and if they're seeing,
that's a great point.
I want them to see what they would see, I guess. So.
All right, Dan, we're going to use your. So it is different. You can see clients, listings, testimonials, agent profile, and then files. Let's start with agent profile. And that's, yeah, I think that's why I wanted to, let's go back real quick. Give me 1 second. So currently, interesting, you guys do have the ability to edit your own profile as well as add testimonials. I'm going to add enhance MLS listings.
Yeah, so that I admitted to the people who joined the class early, I might learn a few things today. And I guess that's one of my questions is that ability to enhance MLS listings, if we, that's currently not checked off on everyone's profile.
Mm-hmm.
If it is checked, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because I don't think anyone's going to go in and try to enhance someone else's listing, but is that option assumed to be just their own listings, or would that be?
Yeah, great question. So that is how it's built, and that's the whole idea, is that essentially when we create your website and you have a public facing site where you have your image or your bio or your contact information, that's a certain piece of it. And then you also have an account that's created. You can see under Dan's setting here, there's edit account. That's where you create your login and your password. And by creating that account, you're then giving the account varying levels of permission. And so in this instance, what I just did as a manager, I went in and gave Dan the ability to edit his own listings. So we should be able to go back in and take a look.
Okay.
And these are the varying permissions that could be set for agents if desired.
Okay, and again, is all of this stuff related just to their page or to the site? Because like I'm happy to give agents the ability to manage site pages, but is it just their?
Well, it varies. So agent can manage site pages. That would be giving an agent the ability to go in and edit pages throughout the website. Agent can manage recommended searches. That would give the agent the opportunity to go in and create recommended searches for the site. When we're talking about the sort of the base permissions, you should be able to go in and modify your bio, you can also go in and see your leads, but it would only, the base permissions, it would be focused on keeping everything sort of in the right bucket. You'd only be able to see your own leads if you log in. You can't see other people's leads. So that's
right. So if an
very
agent wanted
intentional.
to, let's say an agent wanted to create a specific search for their page, there's not currently the ability to do that, am I guessing? Like we'd have to make the search for the entire site, and then can they pick which searches appear from their page, or is it universal across all of the?
It would be, yeah, it would be for the whole site. You'd be creating recommended searches for the whole site.
Okay. Well, one of the things I probably want to point out to the agents in attendance is that, so, you know, one of the things that, you know, obviously we're trying to do is have one of the best, you know, company sites out there. Our Google ranking for Maine real estate is extremely high, thanks to Union Street Media's help. And, you know, essentially what we're trying to do is give everyone an excellent, like, base, you know, sort of a landing page. You know, as most of you know, I encourage you to have your own domain name that would point to your page on our site. And, you know, a lot of agents, for, you know, different reasons, choose not to actively manage or do a lot on their page, but we want those base pages to be, you know, to be good. But you do have the ability, and if anyone, I know one agent in particular that's doing this, Carrie Turnbow, if you know, you may want a site, a website that, you know, that's way more personalized to you, that does things that, you know, our site isn't capable of, and you have the ability to link, you know, folks out to a different site. Carrie Turnbull is one example. If you go to her page, she does have a link, and I'm sure Chris will show you where you can, you know, you can add your own website link to your profile on the company site, which will actually take folks out to your, you know, personalized website where, you know, you might be doing things, you know, way above and beyond, you know, for yourself personally, you know, what we can do, because like I said, we're trying to do stuff, you know, that's sort of setting a high baseline for everyone across the entire site. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Question.
Oh, for sure.
Sorry, I just want to jump in real quick, Chris. My experience with Union Street is similar to Bill's. In our previous life, we all had Union Street at another location. And so when you were back on that page, and I'm manager level, just so you know where I'm at, we were able, at that page, when you clicked on the agent, we were able to change like our headers, like we can now. We can do our bios. We were also able to add in a page, like if we wanted a buyer page or a seller's page across our tabs, we could add those things in. And it appeared from the checkoff list when you were showing us on Dan's page, if he was agent access, that he would be able to change some of those things on his individual page that don't affect everybody else's pages. And I guess that's sort of where my mind's at from a manager's level, that I have some agents that are more techie than other agents, and on their pages, you know, they'd like to see maybe a different background. Like I used to change my background every time I had a house sale. I would change my background to the house I just sold. And then on my old page, in addition to my regular tabs, I had added in other tabs on my agent page. I guess those are the things I'm looking for being able to do in the future.
Yes. So I'm not sure, you know, what the settings were in the previous location. If I'm understanding you correctly, with with manager permissions, you would then be able to go in and modify the navigation for the entire site. But if we use Bill as an example, if you load his page on the home page here,
Yeah.
Bill, you would not have the opportunity to go in and change this navigation as it appears on your site. And for search engine optimization reasons, you wouldn't want to. Like, this should remain consistent throughout the site. So this is locked in. A manager would be able to go in and change this, but Bill, even with all of the agent permissions, would not be able to go in and modify the photo or the navigation.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll take any suggestions that you have, into consideration. But yeah, some of those permissions you see are site-wide. They're not individual agent level. And again, some of the results, that we have been able to achieve from an analytics standpoint are because the site, is constant and not
Consistent. Yeah. That makes sense.
Constant and consistent. But that doesn't mean we can't ever change anything. So if there's something, missing or something that we'd really like to see added, I mean, I certainly want those suggestions, and those are things that I can take to Chris and say, hey, we really need a search for this, or, we really need the ability to do this, or whatever the case might be. So.
Yeah, definitely. So I think for the sake of today's conversation, and thanks for your patience while I got Dan set up here on the front end as well as the back end. But if you're logged in, you can update your agent profile, and you would find it here under agent profile. And the content that you're updating is this information here, as well as some of the information down below. You can see Dan's has testimonials that are pulled in with a link to a page that would then pull in all of Dan's testimonials. And then there is, of course, a contact form. The goal behind this would be if someone knows you and they know of Maine real estate experts, they're on the site and they want to work with you, they can reach out to you directly from the website. So that's why they have the form. Or maybe they've seen one of your listings, they've come to find out a little bit more information about you. They can reach out to you either from the listing forms, or they can reach out to you from this form specifically. And then we have some of Dan's listings that have been pulled in, both sold and pending. So that's accessible to everyone who might want to search what Dan has done, as well as what's currently available.
Chris,
So any questions there so far?
yes, where they fill in, can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay, so where they fill in the information, if they want to reach out to me, is that set to like a push notification that will come to my cell phone, or is that just something that I have to keep vigilant on my email all the
That's
time?
a great question. We can check that back. I can log in and share. I just don't know off the top of my head if you guys are set up to receive text, but that is a possibility.
Yeah, I would like to get an alert if someone does that instead of me having to check on this page every day. So there are days where I get busy and I don't come here every day.
Definitely.
You know?
So that form specifically would generate an email to the agent. The setting would then be an additional setting to get the text, but we can certainly check that.
Yeah, because sometimes the push notification is like I got a reminder for today's meeting. It came right to the top of my cell phone, so I like those kind of.
But the answer to Dan's question, right, Chris, is absolutely. If someone fills out that contact form, he's going to get an email alerting him that someone's done that. I mean,
Yes, by default, you receive an email.
Okay.
Receiving the text would be an extra step, but we can check that.
Yep. Thank you.
Definitely. So you can see is when you log in, there is, what the tab says, essential info, your name, first and last, and your email address. This would be the information. This would be the email address that the notifications, the email notifications would be sent to. So you have the ability to update that. You also have your contact info. All right, so you're actually set in here Dan, cell phone is here. Verizon is your wireless, and it does say enable leads by text. So we can certainly, as a follow-up, I can create a test lead for you and then ensure that you're getting the text notification.
And the reality is any agent can do that themselves, right? I mean,
Correct.
Any of you can go to your site, and if you want to make sure that everything's working just as it should, pretend that you're John Smith and send yourself, a contact, request, and just make sure you're getting that. And I did want to point out, so by default, we do set up everyone to enable leads by text. So if you are poking around, and all of you should, take some time to poke around. You can't really break anything, I don't think, when you're back here, but, poke around. And if, that should be already checked off. I'm 99% certain that the wireless carrier part doesn't actually matter at this point. I think at some point in the past it may have, but at this point we don't have to specify your carrier. So if you're poking around back there, you'll probably realize that your carrier isn't selected or may not even be in the drop down, which that part's not important, but you should already be checked off enable leads by text. If not, you can check that off. On the essential info tab where Chris was before, your MLS number should be in there under where it says main. And I just quickly did an audit last week because we had found a couple folks whose MLS number wasn't there, but that's how your listings get tied to your web page. So if any of you are back there poking around, looking at your information, you don't see your MLS code there, please enter the full 6-digit code there, because that's how, again, your listings will get uploaded to your page. So thank you, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. No, that was awesome. Thank you. Just hopping back to the contact info, you are able to add any social media links that you have, Facebook, for example, LinkedIn. So anything that you want to add related, you can add here. And then certainly if you have your own website, you can add it to the agent website tab here. And then, of course, there is your photo that you can upload. It's really simple. You simply click choose file, and it would want to load it from your laptop or from your desktop, a file that you have on your computer there. One thing, looks like Josh is joining, so I'm going to go ahead and.
Oh, thank you. I guess I can't see that anymore.
Yeah, no worries. My pleasure. Welcome, Josh, if you're just joining. Yvonne, do you have a question?
Oh, her hand's still up. She might not realize it.
Oh, okay. So going back to the photo, you just simply upload it from your computer. And what I would reference for a size is 800 by 800 pixels. So a square is what you want to shoot for. Ideally, when you upload it, there's equal space sort of to the left and right, to the top of your head, and similar as the headshot as it goes down your body. That'll keep, going by those parameters. And again, that's 800 by 800 pixels. The idea behind that is, if it zooms in to meet the shape, it's still going to have equal space. And, if there's only a slight amount of space above your head, it could be that your head gets a little chopped off as the image is loaded. And certainly if anyone has any questions about what a pixel is, I'm happy to answer that too. But that's the measurement for your photo, and you're
we
able
tend to do that for the agents. If any of you have any trouble, or you do have a new photo and you just want to send that to me or Shelly. We will upload that for you, but you do have the ability to do it yourself at any time. And just back to the contact info real quick. So in Dan's case, so the agent website, so and again, for those of you in attendance, this is this might be old hat type information, but so Dan owns that domain name, and I just happened to go to his page and click on that because I didn't know if it was an outside site or not, but it actually brought me right back to his page on the company website. But at a minimum, I think for marketing purposes, you want to have your own domain name. Probably, again, most of you in attendance already do. It's $15 or less per year on GoDaddy, to get that, and then you can point it to your page on the company site. Again, some of you might have something that directs out to another site, and that's fine as well. But at a minimum, I think you want to have something that you can direct potential buyers and sellers directly to your page on the company site. So if you don't currently have that and you didn't need help with it, reach out to me and let me know. So
yeah, definitely. So the idea is, Bill, if I understand, you could have your own site which links out to another website, or you could be setting up, purchasing your own domain name and then redirecting it to the agent page on the main real estate expert site.
for
So
sure.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So on our profile, does the listings only show within a certain amount of time period? Because when I went to my profile, there's no listings that I have on there that I've did.
I'll look into that, Chris. That may be related to, I don't know if your MLS number is missing, Steve,
Yeah.
from there, but
All right. Yeah, I'll look into it.
yeah, and I'll look into the time frame too, unless Chris knows as far as the solds. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because it does vary from MLS to MLS, so it could be a restriction, but I would certainly think we would be seeing sold listings within the last 3 years.
Okay.
Just off the
there's
top of my
nothing
head.
on there for me, so I was just wondering.
It's probably that might be worthwhile checking to make sure that your agent code is set up correctly.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Great question. So if the redirect makes sense to everyone, I'll just go back to photo and bio. That's sort of the easy opportunity here to, update a new image if wanted. One thing you'll notice here, the edit alt text. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with what alt text is, but the idea behind alt text, it's a couple different things. Maybe you all have heard of ADA compliance or America's Disability Act. What it does is, by entering alt text, it enables screen readers to be able to tell folks what the image is. So that there's, from a user experience and opening up the website to all users, it's a great idea to go in and make sure you have your alt text populated. There is also an SEO advantage by having alt text on your website. It allows the search engines, which crawl the site and then report back. It gives them the ability to see, if they're crawling agent pages, they see Dan's photo, Dan's information, having additional alt text populating helps with that as well. Any questions on those 2 points? And an example would be, and Dan, I just want to make sure I had the right case for your C in your name. but we could simply type in capital L and submit that. And so now it's just clear of what that is on the screen, and it's also searchable by the search engines. We're able to supply and edit title, position, and then everyone has the ability to enter the bio. One point about the bio, and it's really up to the organization, but I would suggest consistency, and that's if folks are writing and speaking in first person, or if they're writing or speaking in third person. So of course, in this instance, Dan is referring to himself with I. There is, the other approach would be, using his name. So Dan is an experienced realtor and works with buyers and sellers. So I would just recommend organizationally that you guys make a decision and then you stick with it so you're consistent. A little bit about the editor. It's pretty straightforward if you've used programs like Word or say a Google Doc, but you can really click on anywhere here and start typing. A little bit about how the site is set up. You wouldn't necessarily need to or want to go in and say select a different font for buyers and sellers because you want to highlight it. You might bold it, but you don't actually need to go in and modify the text. The reason for that is the sites are built with what's called a cascading style sheet, or CSS. And what that is one file that basically governs how the site looks overall. So an example would be site-wide, for any of the text that you would read, a significant amount of content, paragraph text, we're going to set it to Arial, and it's going to be 12 for the font size. And that's going to be universal throughout the site. And then what we might do through the design process and the styling, what's called a header. There are various headers, which I'll get into. There's H1, H2, H3 tags. Those may be more of a serif decorative font in a larger size. That might be bold in a different color. But all of that is taken care of in the style sheet. You really don't need to worry about it. So you don't necessarily need to go in and modify the text here. In fact, I would encourage you not to modify the text and not necessarily change the size of the font. The intention with that is consistency throughout the main site, and level a certain overall brand view or brand look for the entire company. Any questions on that before I can talk a little bit about the formatting too, because there are some opportunities if you want to make some changes to your bio page to sort of capitalize or point out certain experiences you may have. If not, then I'll go ahead and I can jump into that. So again, with the content editor, you don't need to choose your font. You don't need to modify the size. What you might notice is there's this normal drop down. And if I hover over it, you can see paragraph format. And so really that's the default font that if you just opened up a page, started typing and published, that would be the font that everyone would read. The homepage content, for example, those sections that are all sort of consistent and larger, by larger, I mean more content, those are all going to be, the site paragraph font. And that's what this would show if we publish it. So you can see this is an example of what that font looks like on the front end of the website. there's nothing needed to do, but you can see by default with the design, Dan's name is a different color, it's a different size, even title and position is different, office location. We all pull that information in, and it's set, so you don't have to worry about it. What you could do on the page, however, is you might want to add some more information. So here we have, Dan's intro, and let's say, maybe you did want to put a header in. You could simply type in, and I'm thinking sort of off the cuff, you could have an about me section, and you could go in and you could hit, an H3 header. And what that will do is that as you build out the content, it can help move the reader's eyes down the screen. So if you wanted to have various sections, you could do that. So you could have an about me section, hit return. You can see this switch back to normal. So this section is about me. And then maybe you want to have a section on buyers and how you've worked with buyers over the years, what your specific approach or perspective is. So you could add an H3 there, hit return, and then you could type in more. And then maybe you have a sellers section, and you simply highlight that as header 3. This section is about sellers. So you can start to see, you would lead someone down your bio, giving them, perspective. And maybe you have a section. No, let's change that too. And maybe you have a living in Maine section. And then you can have more information. If there's maybe a specific area that you focus in, you could write a section, maybe thoughts on Goshen. And then what you might have the ability to do, if that's an area that you know well and you specialize, you could link out and drive people specifically to Goshen listings. And Bill, I would defer to you, because that would be something that, as a site, you'd have to set up a search for Goshen. But the more searches you have on your website, it can be helpful. And then if you have internal linking from one page to another, that might be something to consider. But
I'm wondering where Goshen is, first of all. No, I'm just kidding. Is that in Vermont?
Isn't there a Goshen, Maine? Am I making that up?
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
Maybe it's Goshen, Vermont.
Okay, I don't know.
All right. So
but I understood
here,
what you meant.
let me redeem myself.
Okay, there's definitely a York.
Thoughts on York? I thought there was a Goshen. Maybe that's New Hampshire. My apologies.
That's okay. Every once in a while, I do hear of a Maine town that I've never heard of, or I have to look up where it is. It's a big state.
It might be. I don't know. Now it might be Vermont. Anyway,
I know there's
a York.
You cover a lot of area. It's all right. So just to make sure we have time within, not that we can't go over an hour, but there's probably a lot of other stuff we want to cover. So I think this has given people a good idea that, they can do a lot within their bio, section, and they have full, editorial control over that.
Definitely. Well, so if that works for everyone, why don't we hop over to listings? Because I think that's a relatively quick one that I can explain. And then we can touch on testimonials real quick, if that works for you, Bill, and then I could answer any questions.
Yes, please.
I'm going to hop in because I think I can show through inactive and sold, but you can see that this will pull in, Dan, your listings. These are all sold, but what you can do, and again, organizationally, it's probably up for you as a group to decide, but you can, on our platform, you obviously submit a description on your listings to the MLS, and you upload photos. There is opportunity for you to enhance the listings on your own site. So what do I mean by that? I do have clients that, for example, may save a little extra description for the site, for their own page. So we are going to, by default, pull in what's supplied to the MLS. And then you do have the opportunity to go in and modify that a little bit. You can see, very similarly to the agent page, you do have a content editor. So you can type in some additional information.
I think in the past that was probably a way bigger deal than it is now, only because shockingly, like the MLS used to really restrict and limit us on how much text we could do. But they've come a long way in the last few years on that. And I couldn't tell you what it is right now, but it's a lot. And I think most agents struggle to fill up or use all the space that's allowed. But I think it's good. I think it's good that that ability is still there if you want to.
Yeah, definitely. And with that, you also have the ability to drop in a virtual tour link. If you do supply the link in the MLS, it'll pull it in through IDX. And similarly here, if you have, say, a video for it that you've produced and maybe you've uploaded it to YouTube, you can grab the embed code from YouTube and drop it right in here. What that looks like is the video will occupy the first slide of the photo gallery. So you can actually drop that onto your listing specifically. I think I saw a hand maybe raised. Steve, is it Steve? Do you have a question?
So talking about the IDX, what if we have a personal page? Can we use that same URL code that you guys have on the website to our personal website instead of paying $1,000 a month or a year? Yeah.
Hold on. Do you mind? I just want to make sure I understand. Could you rephrase the question or repeat the
So
question?
on the main real estate experts website, you guys use a thing called IDX that's connected to the MLS.
Correct.
So it automatically updates. So instead of me going into my personal website every time I get a listing, it can automatically change because of the IDX. Right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Can we use that same code that you have that you probably could get into that I know us agents can't get into? Can we share that code and use that same code onto our website?
Onto like your own
personal
website.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, no, it doesn't work that way. We don't have the ability. It's much. I understand your question, and I think it's much larger than that. There's no way to go into a listing page, copy the code, and then drop it into like an HTML editor and have it appear.
Well, Steve, and Steve can correct me if I'm wrong, or Chris can, but so those and this goes back 20 years in history, but those agreements for agencies to be able to host each other's data, those were very complicated agreements that were worked out with the MLS, so that our data, we could do anything we wanted with, but once you start talking about IDX, and if everyone doesn't know what that stands for, it's Internet Data Exchange, and that's basically where most real estate companies agree to allow their data to be shared on, like all of your listings, all of our listings are on Coldwell Banker, they're on Keller Williams, and they agree to share theirs with us, but that's all managed by the MLS. I mean, they're the ones that are charging for that. to make sure that it's all in compliance. And because there, as you can imagine, there's lots of companies that would love to get a hold of that data and not pay for it, or to not attribute a listing, to the company and agent that it really belongs to. And so that data it's kind of like Fort Knox, really. Like, they keep that data very locked down, and that's why there's not the ability to do anything with it. We can't touch it. We can, pay to grab the feed and throw it up on our site. But so am I on
Yeah,
the right
kind of.
track, Steve?
I also just didn't know that if you had like, because I know on the IDX or broker IDX website that they give you, you can do like an independent one, or you can have one up to like 5 agents or a whole agency, or I didn't know if you got maybe a bigger package so we could all
Okay,
maybe.
I'll make a note, Steve, to get with you after class, and maybe there's options I don't know
And
about.
I don't know what
or
IDX you use. Do you use the MLS IDX or do
from
you use like the
Marias.
brokerage IDX?
Yeah, from Marias. Yeah.
Yes, there's a couple different IDX
Okay.
websites.
Yeah, we'll Steve's probably a little bit more on the advanced end than perhaps even myself. So yeah, he's hosting IDX on his personal agent page currently. So I'll talk to you after, Steve, and
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
see if there's a solution. So
All right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and if there are any follow-up questions, certainly let me know. I mean, there's a lot there, certainly with the IDX agreement, and then additionally, just the ability to, copy code or pull in from the feed. So I think we had some, there's opportunity to embed videos, the virtual tour link. So this is actually, one opportunity that probably goes underutilized because it is slightly manual. I'm not sure if you guys can see the browser tab up here, but if I hover over Dan's page, it's Dan McClellan, Maine Real Estate Experts, Maine Real Estate. So one opportunity that you could do with your listings that could help with SEO, and I'm just taking a look. I don't see what this is Litchfield, the town. You could do for the title, you could add in the address. Litchfield. And then you could type in the company name. Oops, I missed the estate. So how this helps you is this actually tells the search engine what this listing is specifically about, or maybe it's a little bit more detail on what the listing is. What this does is this could help differentiate from the Coldwell Banker, the Century 21, the Zillow, the Realtor sites that are probably just spitting up what's available to them. It does allow you to go in and customize it a little bit and be able to tell the search engines most specifically that you may have a little bit of information on this listing that's a little bit different from everybody else. And then you could go in and type in a little bit of a description about the property. And this is something from an enhancement for the listing that no one else is probably doing, and you would be able to do for your listing specifically.
Chris, Yvonne had a question. And definitely, if any of you ever find a listing missing from your page, you should definitely let me know about that immediately so I can do some research on that, because that shouldn't really be happening. But is there a way to maybe it's a for sale by owner that's, not in the MLS or something. Is there a way to add listings, Chris? Or
Is it, if I'm understanding correctly, is it a listing that is yours that's not appearing?
yeah, I don't know if Yvonne, were you referring to like a sold listing or a current listing or?
I think any option is kind of what I think. I just know in past experience, again, sometimes stuff will import and we're missing something that maybe you were a co-broke and you want to show it on your site. And so if you weren't the listing agent, it doesn't give you the ability to share it. Or like you said, if it was a for sale by owner and it wasn't in MLS, we can't put it in there. Or for example, like I just did a huge commercial deal that's not in MLS. And if I could show it on my site, that would be great.
Yeah. So Dan,
that may be something we talk about, because even as I was asking the question, like if we're doing a if we're doing a non-MLS submittal, on a listing, again, if it's an active listing, like then I don't believe we're allowed to promote that anywhere else anyway. So I'll let Chris answer, but again, listings shouldn't be missing. So if they're in the MLS and they're missing from our site, that's something I'll need to look into. Every once in a while, we might have to refresh a listing and, just change something about it to cause it to get picked up in the IDEX feed, as some updated data. And then when the site refreshes, it will upload. But
I think I'm also thinking about on the sold side, once something's done, that stuff doesn't
Okay.
always show in our list. So I guess that was more a two-part question, your listings, and then once you're done, it's showing in your history of your solds.
right.
yeah, definitely, Bill. I mean, I think that's one we can follow up on solds. There may be a time frame, but for example, if it's a recent sold, it should be showing up. There might be some
Right. Yvonne, is this something like that? So I understand a customer might not want, maybe they don't want a list. I know you had one that the customer didn't want it in the MLS. Can it not be put in the MLS as a comp sale after? Because if we're putting it on our site, then we're basically advertising it publicly after the fact. So why couldn't it go in the MLS as a comp sale and then appear on our site?
So my example about the commercial deal was I took a listing that was pre-negotiated, so there was no compensation offered to the buyer side. So I was forbidden to put it into MLS. Like there was if there's no sharing with a potential buyer's agent, then we're not allowed to list it there. But of course,
Okay.
that kind of thing. But then again, my other example was like, I know a lot of my agents and myself will sometimes co-list something and somebody will be the listing agent and the co-listing agent, and, they're getting credit for it in their sales, internally. But, if we could also manually enter something like that, then, if Carolyn and Dan shared a listing on a big waterfront property, then the only person who can show it is whoever was listed as the listing agent, but the co-listing agent should also be able to show it, kind of thing. And that wouldn't come in from IDX or through main listings. We'd have to be able to have the ability to manually enter that kind of thing, I guess.
Okay, I think we get it
Yeah.
now. So
Okay.
Chris, that's not currently an option to add an individual listing.
Well, there is a workaround. There's a way to do it, and
Okay.
Bill, we can certainly talk about it. We have what's called a non-MLS listing, and so it's essentially a function, and we have it for single family, for rentals, for commercial. It's essentially a function where, like you would enter information, description, price, address, photos, for a listing into the MLS, you can do it directly into the website. So those have to be turned on, but we could certainly look at that. And so, Bill, if this specific commercial listing would allow the opportunity to add the information, add photos, assign an agent, and then Yvonne, if you're the assigned agent, it should pull into your solds. It won't have the MLS number. It'll be slightly different. It's a number that's generated by our platform as a unique identifier, but you would be able to have a description, and you could even type in the, sort of the role you played. That would be up to, the content would be yours to modify. So that,
Okay, I'll get with
that might be
you.
an option.
I'll get with you after, Chris, about that. So
Definitely. I do have an 11 o'clock, and so we're nearing the time.
Okay, well, that's all right. You can always jump off and I can cover,
Okay.
I can wrap this up for you, but if you want to give me the hosting duties back.
Yeah, definitely. Let me see. I should be able to. All right, you should be all set there.
Okay, awesome. Well, very much appreciate you joining us, and
definitely. And if there are follow-up questions, if it's, well, how do I find the embed code for a YouTube video, or how do I add a virtual tour? If you guys have a list of questions, I can certainly help answer and help navigate it after the call. So just let me know how I can help, and we can certainly check into the sold listings.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. It's great to meet everyone, and look forward to hearing more questions.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you.
I'm going to share my screen, everyone, so I can wrap us up and cover a couple things that Chris didn't have time to do. Share screen. So I saw that how do I move this? I saw Cindy had a question. So we do have commercial listings on our site. I think they're referred to as investment properties. Did you not think commercial listings were on there, Cindy, or was there a specific listing you weren't finding, or? Oh, okay. She said, never mind. Let me get back to my view. All right, so let me just quickly cover a couple more things before we break off here, but let me get into the so I think the biggest thing, and I'm actually on get into my own page here. So a couple of the biggest things I think that I know I wanted to cover, today is to make sure that that you all know that you can add testimonials to the site. You can do that personally. Apologize. Sorry, guys, taking over the hosting again. I got all my views all messed up, so.
Well, it doesn't help when you have 50 tabs open.
Oh, are you kidding me? That's not it. I always have 50 tabs open. So let's see here. Agents. All right, edit profile. Was there anything that we didn't cover that I did want to make sure that people realized? So this files tab is fairly important as far as this is where you can get. So you want to click on agent intranet. I take that back. Wait, root. Okay, I apologize. If you click on the plus sign next to agent intranet, you'll see some different folders, buyer forms, seller forms, new agent forms, miscellaneous forms, and there's all kinds of stuff on there that we have preloaded for you. So, you know, definitely feel free to check that out if you've never had the chance to get there. And anyway, so I've got a lot of work to do on stuff that came up. Does anyone have any questions before we go? Feel free to type it in the chat or just holler out your question and I'll see if I can answer it now for you, or I'll add it to the to-do list. All right, well, thanks everyone for joining us today. Apologize, that was a little haphazard. Haven't shared hosting duties quite like that before, but anyway, if you ever have any website questions, you know, whatsoever, definitely, you know, feel free to reach out and we'll hopefully get your question answered. So have a good day, everyone. Nice
Sweet,
to see
thanks,
you.
Bill.
Okay, bye guys.
Take it easy.